Hello friends, my name is Dr. Huma Hassan and today I am bringing a very important topic, that is social issues in India. Now what will be the benefit of this video? You people are going to reflect on various social issues. You should have critical perspective when you are preparing for UPSC, right? So when you're preparing for UPSC, definitely you must have critical, rational, scientific temper towards Indian society. So let's quickly discuss this. Okay, so this PPT is going to help to all the UPSC aspirants who are writing their mains or who are preparing for civil services, and also with respect to anthropology and sociology optional papers. So this is my own reflection. So in this PPT, I am discussing so far what is Dr. Huma Hassan analysis as a sociologist and anthropologist. Okay, so it is like, whatsoever happened so far for an year. Okay, so what had happened in this year 2025 or 2024, say. So what are the patterns which we have seen, and what are the changes which we have witnessed? Okay, so we need to reflect that sociologically, critically. So this is something I have incorporated. Now, this is what we need to start with, that India today is undergoing rapid and layered social transformation. See, when I am talking about society, so as Auguste Comte, right, as you can say Durkheim or Weber, Parson, Merton, Peter Berger, Zygmunt Bauman, you need to just refer these thinkers' names, because these thinkers are analyzing society as a whole, not specifically Indian society, but how do we understand society? So society is like an organism. Society is like an organism which are born, okay, and then it grows and progress. So what kind of society we are in? We are today. So we are in hyper dynamic, and we are seeing rapid changes in our society due to sociological, you can say mainly due to technological, economical and political advancements. So this is what sociology. So one thing which we have to learn, that sociology is analyzing society from various perspectives. Okay, so one thing is crucial, that you should refer thinkers. So Zygmunt Bauman, okay. Then you would talk about Peter Berger. Then you will talk about Durkheim. You will talk about Auguste Comte. Then you should also refer to Indian thinkers. So M.N. Srinivas. Before M.N. Srinivas, do write Ghure. Okay, we do have Kapadia, right? Then different perspectives, then Agri. You can write Mahapatra. Some thinkers, how they are talking about society. So they argue that one thing is very important, that society always have social changes. Okay, now how do we have these changes? See, these changes happen with respect to some actions. Okay, so let's just say society is not going to remain same forever. I would exemplify it with the institution of marriage. So earlier we did have traditional rituals, ways of having marriages, but now you can see in contemporary society how we are having a lot of protests from LGBT communities, so that they can have legitimacy, recognition of their marriages, right? And we do know that what Supreme Court have recently given the judgment on, that no, we cannot make this LGBT communities marriages among them as legal. Okay, something like that. But institution of marriage is transforming, it's changing. Okay, so I've given this example. Now this is an explanation of this part, and this is what we need to learn. When I said that India today is undergoing rapid and layered social transformation, if I would be, decodify it as, I would say that Derrida is arguing that you need to learn to read between the lines. You would say that I can take 2 hours of classes only on these two lines. Okay, I would say even it's not two lines; it is just one line. Okay, so we need to know that how, if I'm talking about contemporary India, I can go on and explain that what are the major changes which we are observing in India. Then when I'm saying rapid, I can again justify that with lot of case studies, examples. Now, why UPSC aspirants or any aspirants who are preparing for competitive exams are not getting good marks? Because they are not thinking creatively. Now, I would say I have just developed this model recently. I mean, in my previous class, I was just talking to my students, and then I said that okay, this is something UPSC aspirants and those who could not clear their mains. Why? What was, like, what was missing? I would say explanation was missing, evidences to support your arguments, and examples. Okay, so these are missing. So that's what I'm saying, that we do have to read in between the lines. Now, as a sociologist and anthropologist, I have given my opinion. I believe understanding these changes requires more than surface level observation. Surface level observation is is an observation where you people are just observing and commenting. You do not think, you do not process, you do not, your thinkers are not going in your head, right? So whensoever you are going to make any observation, if it is shallow, you would only argue without any basis. So when we are examining Indian society, we do have to go in depth, into in-depth exploration. Okay, so it requires a structural, cultural and ethical lens. So because of my teaching and research, I consistently emphasize that social issues are not isolated. So you can take this in your notes, okay, that social issues are not isolated at all. Okay, now they are deeply rooted in historical process, cultural meanings, power structures and evolving identities. So the way I have explained on Indian Today, you people can please write and make your notes, and I would be sharing the link of this PPT as well. Now you should talk about the major problem, that is social inequality and stratification. See, why do we have such concepts? We do have such concepts so that we can understand that why some groups are enjoying a lot of privileges and why others are not. Why I am having a lot of power, why I am having a lot of resources, and I have political participation, I have lot many freedom, but at the same time, who are my fellow and maybe belonging to bottom position, they do not enjoy, in fact they do not have even the basic necessities in their life. Now what good have I done, right? So you do just have to understand, you need to think, you need to think in a very questioning manner. So the purpose of social stratification and social inequalities, we do need conflict perspectives, to understand this. So we do have to see that if I am not enjoying certain powerful position, is it because I am lacking somewhere, or it is a structural problem? So here you need to quote Cyril Mills, you need to quote, I would say, Pareto. Thinkers are important, very important. So you can quote Wilfred Pareto, you can quote Mosca, you can quote Cyril Mills, and then definitely you do have a pluralist theorist who says that power is dispersed, okay, and it is not that it is not only concentrated into some hands. So they say that you have pressure groups, for example. So pressure groups plays on their specific interest, and then we do have masses who also work for fulfilling their objectives, and they put pressures on government. Fine. So this is what we have to understand, that there are mechanisms in society if we are having certain issues. So social conflict and social stratification topics helps us to understand this in structure, in structured hierarchies, inequalities, discrimination. So you should be very much clear about concepts. Okay, so you should be knowing how social differentiation is different from social hierarchy, how it is different from deprivation, what do you mean by social stratification. All these concepts make your answer, I would say, critical. It would also make your answer scientific in nature, and you are definitely competing for UPSC civil services. So you have to write in unique manner. Fine. So this is why I would say it important. So, according to me, inequality in India is not merely economic, it is multidimensional. It is economic, it is cultural, structural, and symbolic levels you can see. So, when we study stratification and mobility, it becomes clear that social groups have unequal access. So, this is the key term, unequal access to life chances. Now, the concept of life chances is given to us by Max Weber. Okay, so some communities experience generational mobility. What is generational mobility? And while others remain trapped in structural constraints. So generational mobility, for example, my father was a rickshaw puller and now I am a lecturer. So I can say now better position I am having. But some are involved in the vicious cycle of poverty. So whenever you are talking about that, you are trapped in a in certain condition, and from generation to generations, आपका आपकी जो family it is trapped into that situation. Please quote Oscar Lewis, Culture of Poverty. Okay, so that is again very important here. So we do have a cultural transformation. Now, social change and modernity. I always emphasize that transformation is not simply the replacement of tradition by modern values. Okay, it is not like that. So you need to know it is a continuous negotiation. So people often says that caste is no more functioning in Indian society. It is wrong. Caste system as a traditional structural mechanism, it's not functioning maybe the way it used to be, but now it is functioning in the form of pressure groups in India. We do have lot many political parties who are working only on caste identities. That means there's nothing, that something was there and now it is stopped. So what do we know? See the term which I have used, you need to use rich vocabulary. Okay, so continuous negotiation where societies blend continuity and change. So modernity reshapes family structures, gender equations, caste relation. For change to become meaningful, it must carry cultural acceptance and ethical legitimacy. Okay, so development that lacks social grounding often produce conflict rather than progress. Therefore, every reform must be examined not only in administrative terms, but also in sociological and moral terms. Okay, now I have also given my insights on culture, civilization, and identity. Definitely culture plays a central role in shaping your behavior and identity, and you would say that culture is not as a static tradition but as a dynamic process where we are interpreting our world. So in India's cultural landscape is rich and diverse. So caste groups, tribes, linguistic communities, and religious minorities all preserve distinctive identities while simultaneously engaging with modern institutions. Okay. So this is again I have written. Now here, this is very important for me, and it should be important for all of us. So a significant part of my teaching revolves around the ethical foundations of Indian society. So social issues are ultimately questions of justice, dignity, and fairness. Policies that appear efficient on paper may fail socially if they violate ethical norms or undermine dignity. Dignity is very important. Governance too must be viewed ethically. The design of institutions, laws, public policies reflect the moral choices of society. I believe that sustainable social reform must be anchored. Okay, so ह्यूमन डिग्निटी, सोशल ट्रस्ट, फेयरनेस एंड अकाउंटेबिलिटी, अगर ये चीज लाइफ में है नहीं ना, so there is no meaning to live this kind of life. So you need to have ethical grounding, and it should be there macro and micro level. So social development remains incomplete. So your development is also incomplete if you do not have these characteristics. Then I have reflected on caste structure and exclusion. So you can say that caste is definitely changing. So you should know Sanskritization, dominance of powerful castes, identity-based mobilization. So eliminating caste-based inequality requires more than laws. This is very important, okay? You cannot just have Article 17, you cannot just have Article 16, etc., etc. You need to know, you need to go beyond laws, okay? So you have to see that we want cultural change, representation, empowerment, okay, restoration of dignity to marginalized communities. So we need to give them lot of dignity, okay, prestige. And so I would say India's social issues are interconnected. They cannot be addressed through single dimension. You need to have a structural analysis, cultural interpretation, ethical reasoning, practical policy, okay. So my perspective is that policies must be socially and ethically informed. Economic reforms must go in hand with cultural inclusion. Digital society must be governed with sociological awareness. Identity conflicts requires dialogue, representation, and empathy. Social justice is meaningful only when it protects dignity. Okay, so I hope you people are getting insights that how you people have to have umbrella opinion with respect to social issues in India. So I have tried to giving you integrated approach. Okay, so because integrated approach will allow all of you to see India's social issues not only as challenge, okay, but as opportunities for creating a more just and inclusive society. Thank you so very much.